Should you buy Evil West? Evil West released about a month and a half ago, and my friend actually gifted it to me before the game actually came out, so I had it pre-ordered, and I was really damn excited to play the game. The reason I was so excited is because the game looked like a mashup of so many things I wanted. It was a Wild West game, but it had hack and slash mechanics with an over-the-top story and an amazing atmosphere that I really wanted to get into, especially with this vampires versus humans story in a Wild West setting. It was such a unique idea, and I was really happy when I actually played the game. The game was actually quite fantastic. Everything about the game, from its awesome gameplay, its hack and slash, all of the different mechanics that build up the combat and all the other stuff in the gameplay, as well as a pretty fun and interesting story. So I'm going to see whether I can convince you to purchase this game about a month and a half after its release, and see now that the fact that it's on sale on most platforms now for about $20 to $30 cheaper, at what price I would recommend the game at, and what I think the game is actually worth. First, we'll just briefly talk about the gameplay. This video in general is not going to be too long because there's not too much to say about the game in terms of too many deep and different things and detailed things that I need to say. The game's quite straightforward, and what I'm going to tell you are the main points of the game and why you should purchase this game in my opinion. The gameplay is the main factor of this game. If you're thinking about purchasing this game, don't do it based on the story alone. You have to pair it with the gameplay and the combat of this game in order to find yourself a proper package that you're going to be satisfied with. The gameplay in this game is absolutely fantastic. I had an absolute blast for the about 8 hours it took for me to finish the main story. It was super fun. What this game really reminds me of, and what many people say, is an Xbox 360 or PS3 era game, where it's just a video game. It doesn't try to be too cinematic or be something different like a visual novel or anything like that. It's just a pure video game, and it really relishes this idea of just being a video game, which makes it super fun to play. Of course, the game wouldn't be any good without some good gameplay, and the gameplay here is absolutely amazing. If you've played God of War, you were playing God of War like I was during the time of its release, the game's gonna really remind you of the feel of God of War Ragnarok, for example, and it really has this hack and slash combat that really it relishes in order to be such a great game. Having these guns and different machine guns and all this different stuff, and then pairing that with a fist that you can just slobber all your enemies with, makes this really unique combo for the combat, which is always satisfying, always fun to play through, and some of the moves that you can do is awesome to pull off. You'll be shooting your pistol and then punching an enemy into the sky and uppercutting them, for example, or you'll take out your machine gun in the middle of a battle, shooting the machine gun at a vampire dragon. It's such a unique concept, and the gameplay surrounded by the atmosphere and the story of the game really molds together into this awesome gameplay structure that I really do enjoy and really recommend to anyone that enjoys third-person gameplay in general. And if you really like hack and slash gameplay like Devil May Cry, for example, you're really going to enjoy what Evil West offers here. And having this very unique blend of being a Western game as well as a game that has this futuristic sort of vibe to it, with the different mechanics that the game has through the fist, for example, which has different abilities such as electrical abilities. This really makes the game a unique ride, and you're going to have a lot of fun playing through the game. All through the 8 hours that I played, I thought the gameplay was going to get repetitive. However, for me, I enjoyed every single second of Evil West, and the gameplay was always advancing. And that's what I really like about the game's gameplay. It doesn't just throw all the mechanics at you in one single time like a lot of video games do, and that's not at all a bad approach. It depends on the game here, but of course in Evil West scenario, it has 8 hours to really impress the player. So throwing different weapons slowly and different mechanics to the player as you're playing throughout the game, doing a boss fighter, for example, and then getting introduced to new mechanics that really spice up the gameplay to change the way you play the game. It really makes this a fun experience as you continuously evolve while playing throughout the game, and all the different upgrades and skill points and everything that you have in the game really makes this a fantastic experience, and I couldn't recommend it enough. So if you do enjoy hack and slash video games, or you just enjoy good third-person action game, this game is definitely for you, and I recommend the game based on this merit alone because the gameplay here is absolutely fantastic. Sadly, a lot of reviewers were really negative about the gameplay of this game, and it's really its main merit. So if you don't like the gameplay, you're not going to really enjoy the game. However, I have to heavily disagree with every point that is raised by all these critics and such. The gameplay here is so much fun, and I can't recommend it enough, especially if you just want a game that is pure fun. There is nothing else that the game is trying to show to you, some cinematic experience or some certain agenda. The game is just really fun, and that's all it is. So if you like that sort of gameplay vibe, then Evil West is definitely for you. So this section is probably going to be really short compared to other story sections that I do in other reviews. That's because the story isn't the main focus of the game here. It's very secondary to the gameplay, and that's pretty obvious if you watched all the trailers. The game wasn't trying to be the next Red Dead Redemption or the next Last of Us. It just wants to be a good video game in terms of its gameplay, and it has a story to service that. But that story isn't at all incredible or groundbreaking as you would think. It's just about a 6 or 7 out of 10 story, but it's still really enjoyable. The main things in the story that you're going to enjoy by playing Evil West are the quips of the characters, such as the main character Jesse Rentier, and all the few companions that he has are really interesting characters, and the plot itself is really interesting due to the atmosphere of what it actually is. The concept of cowboys versus vampires is a really unique concept, and I haven't really seen that in any other video game or even other media, so having this here is a really unique concept that the developers do try to delve into a little bit, but it's not really the main focus of the game, and you can tell that most of the focus of the developers was that the fact that the gameplay was going to be really fun for the players, that they were going to really enjoy it, and instead the story is pretty alright. However, it's more of a backbone for the gameplay to rest upon and show you into all these different scenarios that the gameplay can really excel in. So if you're looking for some sort of Red Dead Redemption or Last of Us story, which I don't think you were really expecting with all the trailers for the game, you're not going to find that here, but you're going to find a pretty fun story, and I do really recommend the game when you pair the gameplay and the story together to make a really fantastic package. On a final note, I would say that the game is worth about $40 or so, and I think that's what the sale price at the moment is. So if you can find the game for that price, I definitely recommend this game for you, especially if you like third-person action games or even hack and slash games. And you're going to find a really fantastic package with Evil West, and I really think you're going to be satisfied with what you get. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope I was able to convince you to purchase the game based on all the merits that I explained throughout the video. My next video will either be on Elden Ring or the Steam Deck. I haven't actually chose yet, but the video will probably be released in the new year. So I hope you have a happy new year, and I hope you really look forward to all the new videos I'm going to be releasing in the new year. And of course, we're going to have to change the reviews to 2023. Anyway, that's all from me for today's video. Hope you all did enjoy this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.